Good morning, friends. Just getting up, getting ready for the day, about to head out and do chores, but we are like officially out of our bug spray, so I do need to make some more of that up. I have a video on it, and I actually am referencing it myself, so I remember what I did. But it is by far superior to any natural bug spray I've used. It's all essential oils, witch hazel, glycerin, water, and a little vodka. So I'm not going to go through everything that I'm doing, but I will leave the link in the description down below for you guys. And that's it, and you just give it a shake. And I just keep this outside on the patio, so it's like right there in front of our face when we walk out. And spray it on. I give it a shake every single time I use it, just to keep the essential oils blended well. So the peas are blooming. I planted lettuce all in here. It's looking so beautiful, but you're only seeing the top 3 layers. So I guess I learned this year, planting peas in my green stalk garden planter, that my dogs really like pea shoots, because the bottom 2 layers, they ate them all. Little stinkers. Todd would come out here. I did get a tomato down there, and one of the bottom cells transplanted when I planted out my tomatoes and had extras. I do have some collards growing in here. And what else? I think that's about it. I did try to sow some chamomile, but it didn't take. But my chamomile did self-seed itself from last year, so that was a blessing. And what else? Oh, but come around with me today. Todd and I were driving around on the 4-wheeler last evening, just looking at everything. And I think it's going to be probably my best fruit year ever on the homestead. So I want to show you all the fruit that's growing. I'm super excited. As long as the birds give us a fighting chance, we'll be good. So I just always leave my bug spray sitting right here on my green stalk garden planter. And that's Todd and I's remembrance to spray it on when we go. Looky what I got back in here. A tomato, and he's loving it. So I planted one in each corner of the deck, so we have some more just kitchen ready tomatoes right at our doorstep. And I'm really happy with how it's turning out. The lavender in here, everything's just blooming so nice. Okay, let's take a couple detours along the way and check out all these amazing fruits growing on the property. So, just want to point them out. This big, huge tree right here is a mulberry. We never harvest from it because its mulberries are quite small. All of our mulberry trees produce differently. But that big one back there, where am I pointing? Right over there, that huge tree is a mulberry tree, and it is so loaded, the branches are hanging so low we could almost not drive through it with the 4-wheeler without hitting our heads on some of the branches. If I can bring it in closer to the camera. Can you guys see all those? That's crazy. Last year we didn't get any mulberries because we had that late freeze, so we never got, you know, I would say on this entire tree, maybe 100 dropped. And so we got no cherries, we got no nothing. So the mulberry tree, we've shared this in other videos before, but back in the day, homesteaders would plant lots of mulberry trees on their property to keep the birds away from their main crops. Birds will go right behind you guys. I look a mess. I just got out of the shower. A cherry tree, an old cherry tree. and it is loaded with cherries. And the mulberries will protect my cherry trees, my blueberry crop, my strawberry crops, everything that's coming in at the same time. Cherries, blueberries, strawberries, because the birds prefer the mulberries. So it's just been wonderful to have, but we still get plenty. So this year, what I want to do is bring you guys for the Mulberry Harvest Day. I don't think I've ever done a video on that. It's super fun, so I can't wait to share that with you. But this is just a beauty of a tree, absolutely glorious. Some people despise mulberry trees because they stain the bottoms of your feet. Anything that touches it, you're gonna stain, but we love it. We absolutely love them. But it's time to feed the animals, so I'm gonna get feed. The rest of the fruit is over there by them, so I'll bring you guys along for that. The chickens keep breaking their feeder. I need to get Todd to fix it. All right, well, those turkeys are yelling and yelling at me, so let's let those boogers out and feed them. They are a hoot to watch come chasing their food. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Darn. I was just feeding the turkeys and letting them out, and they are just so fun. They're honestly probably next to pigs, my favorite animal to raise. And I just told Todd this pasture raising idea in the paddock. I don't know if it's sheer luck or if it's these white-breasted turkeys. No one's flown out, not even trying. They have so much great stuff to play in and forage and roam around. We're leaving those tree branches that fell in here because they actually love it. They kind of, I think it's more natural to them, and they huddle down underneath them. And every night they go in super, super well. So I said, next year I want to raise a whole gaggle. So he asked, how many is in a gaggle? I'm like, at least 8. So hopefully next year we just expand our turkey operation a little bit for us. But right back here is my orchard, so let's head over there and see how great all the fruit looks. I see it kind of be, but it almost looks like a yellow jacket, but it's not a yellow jacket, but it's definitely not one of Todd's honeybees. I'm not sure what it is. But this is our row of blueberry bushes. We have 12 to 15, I never remember when I'm sitting right here. And they are absolutely jam-packed. Best blueberry year that we're gonna have. So let me show you one of the better bushes. Absolutely loaded, every branch, all the way down to the bottom, all the way up here. Just so loaded with blueberries. And just about, this is probably the best plant that I'm showing you, but just about every single plant is loaded like this in one way or another. I do have a couple of blueberry bushes that are a little underperforming compared to all the others. I'm not sure why. I know I planted, I think 3 different varieties in here, so it could just be the variety. But like I said, we had never struggled with birds getting our blueberries until last year. So we put netting over them, but I really think it's because the mulberries didn't come into fruit. So I'm hoping that by not protecting them, we'll still be fine because the mulberry trees are so loaded. And I didn't mention, we have no less than 7 mulberry trees on our property. 3 of them are quite massive, and then 2 of them are on the smaller, or 2 to 4 of them are on the smaller side. But so the birds have plenty of their favorite fruit that hopefully they'll leave these alone this year. But my peach tree is also loaded, one of my pear trees, and I have my first potential apple harvest coming this year. Not much, but still, the first fruits. That's exciting. I'm not sure how well it's going to pick up. The sun is still just rising, but this is the starts of our orchard that we started the first year we moved in 2017. We have 3 rows. The 3rd row we added maybe 2 years ago, and it's just got pecan tree and a grapevine in it right now, 2 pecan trees. And these 2 rows over here are pears in the front, peaches in the back, apples in the middle. When I first started it, I was trying to do the permaculture design, lots of understory, ground covers, and I found it was not an easy system for me to manage, because it does need to be managed when you're first starting it out. And it was so far away from my garden. My garden's on the other side. If I had to do it over again, and this is just food for thought for anyone just starting out, I would have put my orchard directly behind my garden so that it's just part of my work stream and my movement. And so it being on the complete opposite side of the property, it just got ignored, and it was not an easy system. But you'll see as we walk through that there's still chives and horehound growing everywhere. But let's go take a look at those pears and those peaches, and maybe we'll find some apples. So as you can see, pears, well, hopefully you can see. Let's see if I can bring this branch down. Ooh, look at this little pear. Yeah, pears everywhere. Super happy. I believe this is a Bartlett. I know I planted a Bartlett and a Kiefer. So one of them's Kiefer and one of them's Bartlett, or Kiefer, however you pronounce it. And it's supposed to be a dwarf. I planted all dwarf varieties, so I'm not quite sure. It's easily 10 feet tall. And I pruned him way down this spring, and he's really shot up again. So I'm definitely going to have a great pear harvest. I typically, I've gotten a couple pears the past 2 years, like literally no more than 2 a year. So this year, I think we counted, there's over 50 pears on this tree. Okay, now we're at one of my Granny Smiths, and it looks like I do have a little apple rust going on. Yeah, I've definitely got some scab, but I'm not too worried about it. But there is, maybe I should be, I don't know. Definitely apples on it. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know a whole lot about fruit tree maintenance. I'm still learning. So if you guys know, I know a lot of people recommend early spring before the buds break to spray the bonide on it, fruit and nut tree spray. I didn't do that this year just because I didn't know to do it. So I think I'm going to spend this year really learning about fruit tree management. I mean, I know how to prune them, and I think I do a good job doing that. But with respect to disease and pest control, if you guys have any tips, leave it in the comments below, because I'm definitely still learning. But this tree is a Granny Smith, and I think I have about 10 apples on this tree, and which is I think the only apple that has fruit on it this year, but I've never gotten an apple before, so that's exciting. Okay, so I didn't mention those were Granny Smith. The middle ones are Honeycrisp. I just checked those. There was no fruit on those. But these last 2 apple trees are Ben Davis variety. It's an old heritage variety. I've never even eaten one myself, but I just felt reminiscent being on a original homestead. A lot of people ask the meaning of our name because they're new here. Our homestead was just the original homestead on this whole road that we live on. It was named after, the road is named after the original homesteader, and it was built in, we only knew at the time, sometime in the 1870s. We've since found out it was established in 1876. But I do have probably 4 that are 5, 6, 7, I would say close to 10 Ben Davis apples on this. So that's exciting. And now right back there is my big, huge peach tree. Let's go check it out. But first, this is an example of the permaculture orchard that used to be here. You can see chives growing all through here. This is horehound. Todd just mows it down now, or a lot of times our kids come over and they have all taken pots of chives home and now have their own chive pots. I told them, be careful planting them in the ground because you'll forever have chives. But the horehound, I've already transplanted so much around the house, so I have more horehound than I need. Similarly, once you have that, you'll probably always have it. Now this tree has to be my pride and joy. The other peach tree sadly died. We have tried 2 times replanting that peach tree back there and have had no success. I can tell, so deer roam our back pasture freely. They never bother my garden, but they love my orchard. So all winter long, because there's not a lot for them to eat, we electric wire our orchard to keep them out. But in order for Todd to manage mowing, he takes that down during the summer season, and they have been in here nibbling on the ends of these branches. But I still have plenty, and as long as they don't cause too much damage, I don't worry about it too much. But let's come peek in here and see all these peaches. I'm gonna have the best harvest this year. I can't wait. Look at this. Look at all these peaches. And I don't know, like I feel kind of greedy like Todd is with his pine trees, and I want to keep them all. But if you know if I should let some, like take some off. But in some sections, there's like 3 in a section, and just like all up and down the branches. I love peach jam. I've told you guys I don't eat a lot of jam. I love making it so I can give it away. But if I had to make one jam for myself, it would be peach jam. Peach jam, peach butter. Oh, yes, give me all the peaches. So we're really looking forward to this summer, coming out here when they're ripe, taking that bite of that fuzzy, warm peach ripe right off the tree. I sure hope we make it that far. Now the last thing growing in the orchard this year is my newly transplanted grapevine, and I have the beginnings of baby grape bunches everywhere. So that's super exciting. I just have them trellised on, we're using those tomato clips on baling wire, and I have another run up here that, like as this shoot grows, I'll attach them up here, and then there's another shoot on the other side. So I'll just keep 2 main runners. Again, not a super knowledgeable expert on growing grapes, but I don't think it looks too crowded. I know that's one of the main things, not letting them be too crowded and making sure that the grapes have access to light and there's not too many leaves covering them. So far, I think it looks splendid. Now, again, thankful for the mulberries, hoping that that gives the birds enough satisfaction to leave my grapes alone. So I still have a little bit more fruit in the garden. I need to go over there anyway and do my watering for the morning, so I'll take you guys with me, and we're gonna harvest some rhubarb together. Okay, that is my row of gorgeous rhubarb. Some of it's a bit old, but that's okay. It'll cook up nice and soft with chopping it up, and I'm gonna freeze it first anyway before I use it. That'll soften it up a bit. There's one right here below you, and then I have strawberries intermixed and planted along the fence line with those. So what you should know about harvesting rhubarb, this is their 3rd season of being here. 2 years ago I transplanted them in the garden from the orchard when I removed, or it might have even been last year. Let them go through the season. I think it was two seasons ago I transplanted them in here. Didn't harvest anything the first 2 years. Now we're doing our first big harvest. I've given so much away already, but isn't this a glorious sight? But I have a ton of watering to do it is going to be a super, super hot weekend. People ask me how I water my garden. How frequently? It so depends. It really depends on the rain, because that is my preference. Let the rain do the job. That water is much better for my garden than faucet water would be. It has all the good minerals in it. So we just had a really heavy rain 3 nights ago. So the last 2 days I haven't watered at all. This morning I'm gonna water.